Okay, welcome to another video. Today we're going to have a look at a Kellenberger universal grinder. This is the model 1500U. This is the largest one that Kellenberger made at this point. You see currently I have it set up in the internal grinding mode. I have the wheel head assembly spun around to do a ring that I have mounted on the chuck. The work head is live right now, meaning that it's going to rotate that chuck. It's also capable of dead spindle or center type grinding. Mounted here on the headstock is a sine bar. Inside the spindle is a number 5 Morse taper 5 taper. On your tailstock you have a number 4 Morse taper, and as you can see, this machine has factory riser blocks on the accessories and on the headstock and tailstock, as well as on the column, wheel head column. So those of you who know about Kellenbergers or own Kellenbergers know what they are, and for those of you who don't, this machine is made over in Switzerland, in St. Gallen, the French-speaking section of Switzerland, and I've been there myself. So let's go ahead and turn this on. It's currently wired for 460 volts, 480 volts. Start our hydraulics now. Bear in mind, this ID spindle unit is driven off the same motor that drives the grinding wheel. Unless you're actually doing an operation where you are grinding externally and then swinging it around and doing ID, most people will take this belt off so that this spindle doesn't run constantly as the external wheel. As with most ID spindles, it's kind of noisy. Well, that's your spindle there. This is your table control. This is automatically disconnected when you go into a feed rate. This has 2 ratios, a coarse and a fine, as well as your in-feed hand wheel. By pulling out this knob, you have a coarse and a fine for manually moving the slide in and out. This is the main lever that starts the cycle. Over here you have some electrical controls to start the hydraulics and the spindle, your emergency stop. So as I go for my first click over here, I start my work head, and here is the control for the speed of that. And you see I have my stop set up here. Each reversal I'm feeding. I have a little bit of a dwell. Now I'm simulating doing a grind, and as you know, if you do ID grinding, that you would not want your end of your cycle, the automatic cycle like this machine has, for this head to go back while you're inside that ring there and cause a crash. So you always have to set this in the mode specifically dedicated to ID grinding so that that doesn't happen. When the cycle is over and the spark out happens, only the amount of in-feed, say 5 or 6 or 10 thousandths that you took off, will that retract. And then you manually have to come out of the bore by hand, and then you can go on from there. So that's the end of that cycle. It sparked out, it retracted, the hand wheel went back to your original position. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off now. I'll let that run down. Now to take the belt off of this is pretty easy. There's 2 screws on the side that loosen the spindle housing clamp. Just slide it forward a little bit and just take the belt off and hang it someplace if you're not going to be using it. Or you can just work it off the pulley. All right, so over here you have your tailstock. This is equipped with a fine taper adjustment. That means that if you're not grinding a taper and you just want to adjust a taper in a cylindrical part, you can take out small amounts of taper right at the tailstock rather than moving the table. So this being a 1500, it's pretty big. Normally you need to take the tailstock off if you're going to spin this.